with my name, I don't need a passport. Ahmad Tabrizi. I'm originally from Iran. I was born there. I educated there as a chemical engineer. Then I moved to Japan for my master's degree at Osaka University. Before I go further about this, I have to say that because my wife is psychologist, she always telling me that the whole character of a human being is structured and she gets the shape from the childhood. When I was 13 years old, my father, I was coming from a almost wealthy family, and he, as an entrepreneur, owns an operation of the mining with more than 5,000 people working for him. And I was having a private car with the driver taking me to school every day. And one day I came back and I found out that my father was bankrupt. There was some political discussion between him and the prime minister at that time. Anyway, I noticed that done. There is no private car, there is no private school, and done. And my father was not very educated, but very smart. And we are 6 brothers and sisters, and I was the eldest one. Maybe at that time I didn't have other sisters, maybe we were 3 brothers. And at night he told me that, son, listen, I can tell you only one thing. Go and get a high education because nobody can rob it from you. This was the lesson I got from my father, but at the time that he was bankrupt. And I learned that I have to work hard to have a good education, and I try to do the same for my kids and for my grandkids here in Canada. We have about 35,000 megawatt of power, which is very important. And the labor force we are having, our age is about between 25% of age is about 6 million we have working force in Ontario. And the good that we know have 20 colleges and 24 colleges and 20 public universities. Ontario is the largest subnational automotive assembly in North America. In my own career, I'm exposed to many sectors of the economy, as it was mentioned before. I go to specifically in the construction. We are the group of our company named Liberty Development. We are having at this moment over 2,500 high-rise condos under construction at this moment in Toronto, in Markham and Richmond Hill, 2,500. Therefore, you can imagine how many labor forces are involved in this type of the activity which we are having, which personally, I don't count too much on the construction. Construction has a nature which is different from other sectors of industry. And we have to be very careful. It's not very promising because it could be easy like this. Less demand and it's finished, you know. Like many employers, I am dependent on the good tradespeople to get the job done. Finding good one has its own challenges. Some really good trade people are restricted from working here because of government policy, but that should improve with the new federal legislation. Young people of the both gender could do well to consider trade career instead of purely academic jobs. University and colleges often bring a lot of debt without a full-time job to service the debt. Apprenticeship is often a smart move. Anyway, but how do we train, hire and keep skilled trade work people? Europe, specifically Germany, is often presented as an example of how to do the trade right. Germany is the only country in the world have Ministry of the Manpower. That is one of the reasons it's so successful. The Germany knows next 10 years, 15 years, what trade, what engineer, what doctor, on what capacity, in which part of Germany they need it. They invest on that and they get the best result. That's why they are having the most advanced economy and sophisticated and solid. Among the EU, everybody read about that. This is one of the, because human resources is the most important thing. We could do the same in Canada, but needs to bring the element who are decision maker and can have role like a private sector, government, and institution like here. These three should get together as a body to make the planning by the advice of the private sector, because private sector is the one can to tell you where are we going. If you want me to, it seems that I'm going very much like this, but sorry. So what are the current trend in trade? According to Ontario provincial data, 35% of the projected jobs from 2008 to 2013 are filled by the occupation with extensive post-secondary but less than university degree requirement. I got a figure that even a couple of years ago when the Kathleen Wynne was Minister of Education, she's a very good friend of mine and I'm her riding, and I asked Kathleen, how much is the cost per student in our province? She said about $10,000. I said, well, you know that table over there, I have a friend who has 3 Montessori private sector, and he charged about $7,000 to $8,000, and he makes a couple of $1 million every year. So why don't you leave all this to the private sector to do that? You're not efficient. $10,000 per student from 5 years old up to 17 years old, while Montessori private sector give a better education than you, and it's only $7,000, $8,000. Something wrong. Then we go upward to universities. $33,000 is the cost as per the 2011 statistic. But $33,000 is the cost of a student in university. You send a guy, your son, to get a BA in X university without having any objective what job he wants to have. I'm a businessman. You know how many, every month at least, I get requests from my friends that the kids are educated from some major, which I don't know why university is spending time for and money or taxpayer for this type of education. And the guy comes, do you need some administrator? I said, what's your education? Hey, I studied about some vegetable in South Africa. I said, good, your degree. But my job is engineering for oil and gas. I said, don't worry, Mr. Tabrizi. Give an administration job to him. I said, guy, you spent $150,000 of my tax, 4 years in university, and you owe, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000 forever you have to pay. What type of investment it is totally wrong. We have to be careful. It is just let them go into university and it's fine. We need to have, but the point is that first we have to give the opportunity to those who has been invested by the third country. We brought them here, we educate them, skill for change with the money of the government, we upgrade them, we solve the problem of egg and chicken, about Canadian experience, we give the certificate, but the guy doesn't have a job. Therefore, we have to find a way that to make an easy flow of information of demand and supply in the market, and not only just because 1 or 2 manufacturers claim that, okay, there is shortage. Yeah, about a year and a half ago, we suffered as a high-rise builder. The price increased about maybe 10–15% in some sector of the construction, because suddenly the demand went up. But we can absorb it, and it's not very important thing, because this is a periodic time of the demand and supply for the construction. As I said, construction industry is totally different from the other type of manufacturing, and we could handle it. But now we have this, and we have to find a solution. But that's not enough, gentlemen and ladies. We need medium-sized industry. Medium-sized industry is the strength of the industry. Small and the big. In 1978, I was in Japan. The Minister of Trade of Japan came to TV and said, guys, we are not going to support the big industry anymore, because as soon as a crisis happens, you are on the shoulder of government. But medium-sized, because of, it's very important, I tell you, my experience I manage, because of human contact between the staff and the owner, makes them to sit down and talk and reach to some compromise to pass this crisis. While an organization with 20,000 people who doesn't know who is the boss, who is the owner, there is no human relation. Therefore, they go to the government, okay, otherwise we do demonstration, and which government in the democratic country can stand of 20,000 people demonstrating that we don't have a job? They give up and give the money to them, our money, tax money. While the medium size, it means that from 100 to 200, 300 is the strength of the economy. This is something we need in Canada, and I hope politicians will make attention to them, and with the support of having these colleges like here, have more trade people to be backbone of our industry. Thank you very much, and good.